Hello, good evening, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the Passive Income Show with Carl D. Hello, everybody. Sa mga listeners, viewers out there, can you go to the chat box and type saan kayo nanonood? Where are you watching from? Hello, yes. Today we have a very unique show. Before we had topics about money, about personality. Ngayon, we have a medyo serious topic which is about the economy. I brought in a very special guest kasi I want to encourage everybody to be able to see the world from an economist point of view. Pag meron nangyayari sa ibang bansa, how does it affect us? How does it affect your business? How do you monitor ang movement ng mga tao? How do you monitor an effect of change in policy ng government? How do you adjust pag may nangyaring pandemic in one area? What are the business opportunities when there is a certain incident that happened? Diba? So this is all correlated and it all falls under economics. So sa mga nakikinig out there, just tell me if you're a businessman, importante sa atin to na we know about economics. If you're a finance person, if you're a doctor, if you are a housewife, you want to know what is the effect of this happening to yung mga bilihin mo sa market, these all fall under economics. And I want to encourage you na if you want to be good in your business, see 5-10 years ahead, then listen to our special guest for tonight. Without further ado, if please just say hi as you enter the group, the room. Please say hi in the chat box and just say saan kayo nanonood. Our next special guest for today is a professor at the Department of Economics ng Ateneo de Manila University. He's also a director of the Ateneo Center for Economic Research and Development. He's a favorite guest resource person basta pagdating sa economy and policy, sa radio, television, both Philippines and overseas. His professional experience spans 3 decades, 30 years as an economic development specialist, investment analysis, corporate planner, program officer, lecturer, and director in government. private sector, and the academic research institution. Wow, hinga muna ako. He has taught for the last 27 years full-time at the University of Santo Tomas and Ateneo de Manila University. Meron man tiga University of Santo Tomas dito tulad ko, kaway-kaway naman dyan ang mga tiga UST, Espanya, Pinoval, Dapitan. And of course, also, our speaker has taught in the Ateneo de Manila University. Hello to all the Blue Eagles out there. Please say hi if you're from Ateneo. He has served as adjunct faculty at the Asian Institute of Management, Development Academy of the Philippines, and Nazarbayev University in Kazakhstan. Wow, sobrang heavyweight. He earned his PhD in Applied Economics at Osaka University Graduate School of Economics in Japan. Namimiss ko na rin ng Japan. Ang hirap i-pronounce, a research scholar of the Japanese government, and his master in public policy from the National University of Singapore. So from UST to Ateneo to AIM to Osaka and to Singapore as a scholar of the Singaporean government in 1999. He's a Christ follower. I think this is the most important. Hello, Rina. He's a Christ follower, a very loyal and good husband to wife Jo, and have been advocates on financial literacy and had taught on this topic in many circles within the country and abroad, especially sa mga overseas Filipino workers. Whew. Without further ado, guys, please help me welcome, say hi in the chat group to Dr. Alvin Ang. Hello, Dr. Alvin Ang. How are you?
Yeah. Hello, Carl, and to all the listeners, mga nanonood, good evening. Thank you for this invitation. This is a privilege to share.
So welcome to the Passive Income Show, Dr. Alvin. You know, sila Randall, sila Marvin, sila Paulo Tibig, they've all been a guest in our show. And we are very honored to have Dr. Alvin. Salamat for your time.
Yeah, I'm actually privileged to be here and share my ideas and my thoughts.
And before we let you start, you know, sa mga nanonood dito, we are streaming live, and this will also be featured in Chinoy TV. And isa-summarize din natin to be a Chinoy TV article and also to the future Chinoy TV podcast. So talagang Dr. Alvin, you'll be all over the world after today's episode.
Wow. What a privilege. Thank you.
So what's keeping you busy ngayon as an economist, Dr. Alvin?
Well, actually, since I'm full-time teaching, so I spend a lot of my time teaching online from the undergraduate up to the executive levels in Ateneo, and also some government agencies as well. And then and also I do research because I had Ateneo Center for Economic Research, so we do a lot of economic forecasting and economic analysis. If you noted, this morning the GDP result came out for the first quarter. I think we were one of the closest to the estimate. So that's what we do. We try to second guess the economic situation.
Sounds exciting, Dr. Alvin. You know, sa mga viewers out there, the topic for today is how should you prepare for the after the pandemic, di ba? Kumbaga, we don't want to be stuck too long to the pandemic mindset. And Dr. Alvin will guide us para pag open ng world and back to normal, para tayong rocket ship, we're gonna be really fast to the new normal. So Dr. Alvin, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. Actually, when you asked me what topic do I have in mind that I could share, actually, this is something that has been coming out of my mind, and reading a lot of articles and studies. Everybody's so focused about the pandemic, but the pandemic will end at some point. And what if it ends tomorrow? Are we ready? I mean, I asked that question myself. So it seems that nobody is really preparing for it, and everybody's focused on the today. And I like an article I read. They call this feeling or this are are there? Yeah, it's
Uh,
similar to that.
Sir Alvin, we lost you for a bit. Hindi ko alam
Oh,
kung ako or ikaw, pero I lost you do sa part that you were reading an article.
yeah. Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I was reading an article entitled "The Post-Pandemic World," and it was very interesting because it talked about the idea of languishing. No, languishing. It's similar to the movie, an old 80s movie called um, Groundhog Day. Yung this you wake up the same day, the same things all over again. Yan. So
Okay.
sabi ko, wow, I think a lot of people are feeling this kind of mindset right now. So might as well do some research how we can help others get out of languishing. Wag tayo mag-groundhog day every day. So I'm going to
Um,
share am I there? Can you hear me?
we lost you for a really short time, but it's okay.
Yeah. Ano what? Anyway, but I'm okay now. Good. All right. So I can share the screen now. Let me share the screen. Okay. Wait here. So I'm just going to go through this, and maybe as I go along, let me know what your thoughts are. Okay. So are you preparing for the end of the pandemic? What is important right now, I think many people are focused still on the pandemic, but what we are seeing is that the vaccines are proving to be much better than expected. The vaccines were originally made to prevent severe cases. But what has happened is that the vaccine is actually preventing the transmission of the virus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very important a very important thing that we should consider. Second, it is important that people know that we are learning faster. I'm showing here a chart from Nature's magazine showing you how fast we developed the COVID vaccine. uh, the measles, mumps, and hepatitis B vaccine. It took them about 10 years to develop them, but
Yeah.
we only took less than 1 year to develop the COVID vaccine. So it means that we have been learning faster. So these are very important elements, no, moving forward. And then this is, I think, a a a situation wherein we must understand that digitalization came faster than expected. And this is where we have some challenge as as Filipinos kasi medyo late tayo dito. So our neighbors are doing much better because their digitalization were faster and better, I should say. Very late tayo dito. I'll explain that later, ha? So we need to start thinking, how does the post-pandemic world look like? Magbabago ba? So people think that the first, I think, biggest challenge of people today is that thinking that the pandemic, when it ends, we just go back to pre-pandemic levels. That's unlikely because we know that we can now work from home. So remote working, remote studying, a lot of things doing remote is going to be a norm, not not a stopgap measure. Okay, it has change. It has required us to change our lifestyle. Maraming changes sa lifestyle natin. Uh, a lot of way of doing things will change, uh, particularly in the way we predict business over time, no? Kasi hindi na siya it's all going to be predicted to us. We no longer need to predict it. So our lifestyle will also change. Okay? And then we know that everything has gone online. Retail na, no, lahat. So this will also not change. This will be the norm. And doing things will require online. And so that's why yung sabi ko kanina, digitalization, if we did not prepare for it, then we will have a hard time going online. We will have a hard time remote working and doing a lot of stuff post-pandemic. Okay? And this is, I think, most important in the post-pandemic economy is that what is important is what you see in your community. So yung mga community shops will be the most important place to go. It's no longer in mga shopping malls. It will change the way of consuming. So the local economy will be the focal point. So the community stores, the the community outlets, it's very similar to some places in Singapore, wherein they have like under the build under the condos or the housing, there are community stores. So parang magiging yan ang norm uh, post-pandemic. And I call the last one traumatic freedom. It's going to be traumatic because we're going to be freed, and we don't know what is going to happen, what's going to come first. Yung frenzy, hindi mo alam kung ano uunahin mo. So it's going to be traumatic. Here is not negative, neither is it positive. So bigla kang makakawala. So what are you going to do first? Yun. So I'll end there para marami tayong time. So I just use that as a parang sharing point para meron tayong pag-usapan. Yun.
Fantastic. Dr.
Yun.
Alvin, that was really interesting. So, wow, I've never thought about the question. How do you prepare? I don't even know the sentence. How do you prepare for life after pandemic, no?
That's right. That's right.
Ano bang nakikita nyo in your research? Malapit na ba?
Uh, well, kasi it can go both ways pa rin at this time. But ako, I am in faith that as I see that as more vaccines are available, and the biggest finding, that the one that I showed first, is that it was only to prevent severe cases, but it turns out that it is preventing the spread.
Okay.
So if we have more vaccine and less vaccine hesitancy and the likes, we probably will see it early next year. Baka ano na, no, majority of the developed world is out of COVID, and then they can now help the others. So of course it will still take time because vaccination is not easy, so, because you don't vaccinate hundreds of thousands but millions. So it will take time, but still, I mean, we still have to start thinking, because we don't prepare once we already see it, di ba? How do you position, di ba, in a business strategizing? If you position after, naiwan ka na, di ba? All the rest have taken the better seats, di ba?
Sige nga,
So,
Dr.
yun.
Alvin.
That's
If we're
yeah.
gonna summarize it, let's say at least to 5 steps. 5 things
Mm-mm.
we can do now to prepare for
Mm.
life after pandemic. What is your first one?
Yeah, to me, the first thing I think that people should be looking at is assessing the resources, no? What is your resource level right now? what are your assets, and if you have done better this pandemic, you don't have I will assume you have very little debt, or you have been able to manage your debt. So as critical talaga assessing your resource. And one of the things we notice in this pandemic, the particularly the top classes, top 10% of the population and the upper middle class, who did not lose their jobs, who even if their business were affected, they still have positive cash flows. They actually saved a lot. There's a lot of savings, and that savings is stuck in the bank, no, very liquid people. So assessing your resource, kailangan talaga paghandaan mo yan. Ano yung ina-assess mo? Assess your potential. Okay, assess your potential. So you have assess your resource. Now assess your potential. What are your current knowledge and skills at the moment? Because sabi ko kanina, yung digitalization will is there. It's ahead. But a lot of people only know digitalization because we can do online, we can buy and sell online, we can do Facebook, but it's more than that, no?
Doc, I'm
Yeah.
gonna hold your thought a bit. We have some
Mm.
questions coming in. So guys, feel free, tanong lang
Okay.
kayo. Number one is assess your resources. Diba?
Yeah.
Let's linger there a bit. It's so interesting. Parang ang lalim yan. Doc, you mentioned kanina about money in the bank.
Mm, mm, mm.
Ano ba dapat what's a good financial strategy during this time? Should you be out buying stuff that are cheap, or should you just hold money and put it in the bank?
Yeah, that's a nice question, no? Kasi what you are seeing is that when people are afraid, they would like to be liquid, kaya madaming cash. No? Kasi what if something happens, may hawak na akong pera, I can immediately release it. No? Of course, it's not physical cash, but electronic cash as well is counted as cash, right? So, but as I said, no, if you assess your resource, you don't really need that much liquidity. Kahit may takot ka, kahit you want to be very conservative, you still have extra, and you need to use that extra to prepare for something, di ba? What if you are seeing things clearing up? Can you invest there now? Di ba? Kasi ang daming maraming sectors of the economy are really battered by the pandemic. So, what if they turn around the next day, di ba? Naiwan ka, no? But it's very important also to know, that's why yung number two, very important eh. Assess your knowledge and skill. Kailangan din, mayroon akong resource pero I don't know where to go, what to do. Then, skill na knowledge ang kailangan mo. You need to invest on these things. In fact, for example, in my case, no, I already have a doctorate, but I really wanted to know data science because I did not learn it when I was doing my PhD. Wala namang ganun eh. Many years ago. But that today, that is a very important skill. It's not a course, it's a skill. So I think everybody involved or wanting to do business must know data science. So it is a skill that can be learned. And very few people know that. Kaya maraming taong kumikita dyan na nagtuturo. So
Wow.
it's something like
Data
that.
science.
Data science, yeah. Same. We know how to use Excel, but Excel can do more than doing the graphs and the likes. No, because if you know data science, your Excel would be excellent.
Hey, Doc, I
Yeah.
wanna emphasize on what you just mentioned na for the young ones out there, if you wanna look for a niche, 'di ba, in your career, data science, care of Dr. Alvin Ang. Salamat, Doc, for sharing. And we'd like to acknowledge a good friend of ours here, Rina Lichu Chua. The sister of David Lichu is here, and meron siyang message representing the Sun Life industry. Hello, Rina. Good to have
Mm.
savings in times. Doc Alvin, what are your thoughts about this? Good to have savings in good times so you can have backup in the bad times.
Yeah, that's correct. The only question is we cannot have too much savings naman. No, because how much do you really need to save? If the usual things we teach sa financial, diba, literacy is that 6 months of your expenses. So if you have that enough savings, you may want, if you still have more, you can be conservative at a 1 year cost of living savings. The rest, these are assets that liquid assets that you can use to, let's say, prepare for, look for good properties, care of car, right?
Yeah.
And or look for companies in the stock market that have been battered, but that they can recover. That ito yun you need to assess. And right now, that a lot of investment instruments are rising because people really have excess cash, especially in the developed world, not just in the Philippines, but in the rich countries, because they also receive stimulus cash and checks beyond their already high income levels, diba? So what are they going to do? They cannot travel, they cannot buy new things. So what are they going to do with the money, diba? It cannot be just eating and eating lang. So they started to spend on they start to invest in unconventional kind of investments tulad ng mga cryptocurrencies, so mga ganyan. But these things, kasi nga unconventional, they require you to have really good knowledge. And ang labanan dito sa uh, sa preparing for the post-pandemic world is the one who who studied better, who knows better, would be 2 steps ahead.
Doc, ang ganda ng nasabi mo kanina. You open up a lot of mga new idea. You mentioned something about the stimulus. And we're not
Mm.
we'll go to cryptocurrency after. We just guested Marvin Guillermo and so
Mm.
but question about cryptocurrency. Doc, you mentioned stimulus and that there are
Mm.
so much money flowing around in developed countries. What are the as an economist, ano effect niyan sa Pilipinas? Ano effect niyan sa akin as the average one?
Mm. Yeah, well, that means, no, it's like water, no, money is like water, no, you open the giant faucet, so it will flow. So it will flow to where yung lowest points, di ba? So it can fill up all of those kahit na yung mga unusually opened surfaces, di ba? Kaya yung developed countries, since it's unimaginable. We are in the middle of the pandemic, and yet the stock market in the US is all-time high. In Europe, it's hitting high. So it's unimaginable. So how is that happening? It is happening because people are no longer looking at the valuations. They're looking at, what am I going to do with the money that I have, the extra, because I'm not going to spend it anyway. So might as well buy something that will give me good returns in the future, right? Again, so as I'm saying this, since they are rising, what if pati nga yung mga walang kwentang company sa US, 'di ba, umakyat? I know if you have the game something, a game line 21, I forgot, no? 'Di ba?
GameStop?
GameStop, that company has been losing for years. And the company, the stocks went up. So it's illogical already. So, but post-pandemic, when people start to sit down and think, oh, this should have not happened, yun magre-reassess na naman, magre-reassess eh. So the third step after puro assess to, no, assess your current state, then assess your skills, and then huli, assess what have you done during this pandemic. Ano na yung nagawa mo? And then this is where people realize, I may have overinvested. I have not been logical, and it has become parang ginawa ko na lang for the sake na may gawin ako, and that will backfire. And that's also my thinking is that this overindulgence of these investment instruments, babalik yan,
Mm, okay.
because now people will need to evaluate it correctly, because normal times na,
Okay.
value it
Doc,
correctly.
I'm gonna hang on there. Ang ganda na sinabi mo, Doc, wherein you try to explain the flow. So you open
mm,
the water, nag-stimulus, pumunta sa tao, sa
mm,
Amerikano, and then dahil wala silang paglalagyan kung saan-saan sila nag-i-invest sa stock market, kaya umaakyat yung market. So that explains
mm.
why the US market is up. How about sa Philippines naman? And then, like, how can I ride this wave? How can I take
Mm.
advantage?
Well, in our case sa Philippines, we don't have that luxury. We don't have that kind of stimulus, di ba? Kasi the stimulus that was
Ayun lang.
released was ayuda was not for everyone. Limited to yung mga ano lang, konti lang ang income, di ba? So hindi ka kasama diyan, Carl. Na-cut off ka diyan. So in
Laylayan
that
lang tayo, 'di ba? Laylayan sabi ni ano,
Oo, ni VP, oo. So hindi talaga siya stimulus in a sense, na it reached people, that who don't need the cash and will spend it. So, but just the same, there is a stimulus that the government did not give, but those with good jobs, quality jobs, receive in the form of hindi makagastos, walang pagkagastos. So, stimulus yun, di ba? What am I going to do with this cash now? Because I cannot travel, I cannot buy new things, I cannot buy new clothes, no, I don't need new things for the house. I don't need to upgrade appliances and my vehicle, and most of the things na ginastosan natin was to refurbish the house so that it can be good for work from home. So, hindi naman siguro, unless nagpa-remodel ka for good, no? So they still have excess cash, and this also somehow, uh, you know, puts a lot of people to look for extra investments. Kaya marami rin nagtatanong sa iyo sa real estate, di ba? Marami din naghahanap ng mga other than the stock market. Meron pang iba pa, no? Oversubscribe yung mga IPOs right? So ordinary times hindi maka-oversubscribe mga IPO. But in a pandemic na oversubscribe, pati mga bonds, pati mga bonds na release ng banks, ng mga companies like SMC, SM, oversubscribe yan.
So,
That
very
means very liquid.
very interesting, Dr. Alvin, what you just mentioned, no, about yung how yung ano ba yung galaw movement of people during this pandemic. And I think a lot of our viewers can relate to what you just exactly said, di ba? Yung ang mga viewers natin, I think karamihan dito sila yung maraming excess liquidity kung anong gagawin at nag-renovate. So wow, Dr. Alvin, you really hit the mark. So you mentioned about number 3, which is assess what you have done. What does that
Mm.
mean?
Well, this pandemic kasi, uh, maraming tao, no, they're just trying to get by. Because remember the first 3 months last year, matatapos na ito. And then extended. So, yung those who did not look forward for or did not prepare, ang nangyari is a cycle lang. Groundhog Day nga, paulit-ulit lang. So, at the end, parang walang nangyari. Sayang, di ba? So, but now, na tingnan mo, what did you invest in something? Did you learn something? Um, Example, how is your family time? No, dapat nag-improve man lang. If you did not invest in anything, you stayed with your family the whole time, so you would have better relationship, di ba? Yung mga ganyan. So
Well,
yun yung ano.
I agree with you that many people stayed more with their family. I hope lang naging better family time. Hindi more arguments.
Well, that in other fora that I've been to, actually naging more argument ka because they only realize that they don't know their housemates, no, their relatives, kasi they're always outside. They're always outside. And then when they meet, pag nakita na sila, uy, ah, an, parang hindi kita kilala, di ba? Kasi magkasama na sila every day. But it's good, it's healthy because then they come to know each other better. And hopefully, it also help them develop better their relationship with God, di ba? Yan yung mga dapat na-assess natin during this pandemic. Hindi tayo naging fearful, no? Kasi those who are fearful during this pandemic probably will have not accomplished much, and is not going to look is no longer looking forward to the end of this, na yung gusto nga niya matapos pero yung gusto niyang ending is just back to where it started. But as I showed you in the presentation kanina, it's not going to go back there. So pag hindi ka nag-assess, mafo-frustrate ka lang when the post-pandemic world comes. So sabihin, bakit akala ko ba okay na? So you will
Hey,
be
Doc,
surprised, hindi na.
ang ganda ng binanggit mo, Doc. And this is a mindset change. Ha? But first, before that, I want to say hi daw from JP Canita, your student in UST and my cousin.
Oh, okay, okay.
JP, malamang kilala mo yan. Matalino yan si JP. Dean's Lister yan.
Okay, okay. Okay, wow.
I
May
like what
student pa ako dito.
Yes, I like what you mentioned about yung tamang mindset, no? Na instead of just sitting down and doing nothing, you prepare and be excited for the next growth something, no? Growth spurt.
That's right.
How about you, Doc? Are you excited with what's to come?
Yes, actually, ano na nga ako to the point na nag-worry ako. You know why? What if tomorrow nga, bigla na okay na to lahat, no? Tapos na. Imagine lahat magbo-book. Gusto kong mag-travel. Lahat, diba?
Yeah.
Tapos lahat, punta tayo sa beach, punta tayo. All the things that you missed in the last 14 months, you will you will do it immediately. Lalo na kung may cash ka. So ba?
Wow.
So yung tinatawag nila na ano no na revenge spending, no? Revenge spending. And
Hey,
I fear na hindi kaya ng mga ng mga providers ibigay lahat sa atin yun kasi ma-overwhelm sila.
hey,
Di
Doc,
ba? Look at
ang ganda na binanggit mo, Doc. I never saw it from that point of view. Kasi right
oh,
now, syempre, yung mga resorts. I've seen resorts
mm,
for sale. The Cebu Pacific Airlines stocks are down. But you're saying may one day wherein it will turn around.
exactly. And
Wow.
yung turnaround na yan, it can be a surprise. The 1918 flu, the 1918 flu stopped, by itself.
Yeah.
Everybody was just, walang vaccine yun, ah.
Okay.
There was no vaccine in 1920.
Okay.
It just stopped because, kumbaga, there's enough people, ano tawag nito, enough people na nahawa, so there's no more people to to be infected, so it just stopped. And when it stopped, the people were just surprised. So, what happened? Diba?
Okay.
And then they were not ready they were not ready. Na-surprise lang sila. Nawala na. Nawala
Wow.
na nagkakasakit, gumagaling na yung mga tao. After yung mga gumaling to, wala na. Oh. So,
Hey, so guys,
and, and
I just want to emphasize what Doc just mentioned. That's so powerful, Doc. Na I never thought about that. Na parang what if that one day comes? Am I
mm,
prepared to capture the opportunities in the market? No?
that's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow. Wow. That's something, food for thought, everybody nakikinig. And you were gonna say something, Doc?
Yeah, kasi look at what happened to Israel now. No? Israel
Okay.
now, I mean, the cases are just falling by the day, and they're no longer wearing masks. They're back to normal. They're back to normal. Kaya lang, hindi pa rin sila normal kasi they could not get out of Israel, 'di ba?
Okay.
So, no, wala pa yung travel, wala. And they're a small place, like unlike us na malaki ang Pilipinas, para no, there are many islands, so there's a lot of difference. But kaya nga it is an interrelated world, so everybody benefits out of it. So I believe kaya nga yung mga rich countries will start to help the developing countries soon, because
Yeah.
it's to their interest. It is to their interest and everybody's interest that unless maiipit lang kayo dyan, no, there's nothing that will come out of that. Kaya look at countries that previously were okay, walang pandemic, walang masyadong cases, like Thailand, Vietnam, and the rest. because people also want to open up eh. Kaya ayan, kakaroon din sila ng case, you know. So that's the reality. Dapat ang mindset natin din is a kind of a preparatory, no? It's preparatory. Yeah, hindi it's not escaping, no? Kasi yung iba kasi sabi na escaping 'yan kasi may problem pa tayo. No, we are recognizant of the problem. We know there's a problem. But we have to see that, at the end of it, something is going to change. So if we're not hoping for something, then we will be stuck here.
Yeah.
No, yun na, mahirap.
Hey, Doc, and everybody, all the viewers out there, I don't know kung napansin nyo, that was such a heavy thought that Dr. Alvin gave. A seed planted in our minds na let's prepare na one day, pag wala na tayong virus, things will just open up and people will start spending. Are you there to capture the opportunities? Eh, Doc, you mentioned about 1918 to 1920 when the Spanish flu ended. After 1920, ito ba yung Great Gatsby na nag-grow yung economy?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Can you,
Exactly.
may study ka ba about?
Exactly.
What was that all about? The Great Gatsby.
Well, kasi ano na yung US at that time, no? Sobra, yung pent-up demand, no? It's called the pent-up demand. Because the US was, they're all coming up from the war, di ba? So that's part of their celebration din eh. No? That, umano sila, they were released from the war, the First World War, and the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
So, dalawa yun. There were two events, no? And the end of World War One and the end of the pandemic, the flu.
Eh, Doc,
So,
matanong kita, what do you
mm,
think the markets, let's say, or whatever, US market or Philippine market, syempre yung US all-time high, di ba, right now?
mm, mm, mm.
Is it gonna go higher, higher pa because of the end of pandemic?
I think, as I said, no, it will be there will be a time for reckoning. What will happen is there would be like a flight to the one that will be sustainable. So yung mga umakyat lang because nadamay lang sila, no? Because everything is going up, wala ka na mabili, yung nabili mo akyat lahat, di ba? It's it's not a bull market, no? I don't know what to call it, no? But it's not definitely not a bull market. It's not a bull market. It's just that kasi bull market is sentiment driven and this is not sentiment driven. This is liquidity driven. No,
Oh,
people have excess. No, so pag bull market is people believe that the economy is going to go up, companies are rising, profits will rise. But the stocks are rising and yet the profits are not really high. Di ba?
okay.
Hindi siya commensurate eh. So magkakaroon niya ng correction dun sa mga companies that really, did not perform well. And the value rose. So it's hindi aligned, so may adjustment yan. So I think there will be some correction, but the ones that have made good in this pandemic will do better. If they
Okay.
make good in this difficult time, they will do better. So the digital companies, they probably will do much better after because ano na eh, tried and tested in a difficult situation, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Doc,
that's what yan.
I want to emphasize to the audience that's such another mind-changing thought, no, which is liquidity driven yung magiging markets natin in the next few years because ang daming pera na nasa market.
Mm, 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 mm.
Is that applicable sa Pilipinas? Parang hindi ko naman nararamdaman na marami akong pera.
Well, siguro in our case, yun nga sabi ko kasi we don't have much, we did not have the stimulus. So, but remember, large companies continue to earn large income, no? Look at San Miguel, 15 times profit from
Wow.
last year, 15 times, no? We're not talking here of hundreds of thousands, billions of pesos, di ba?
Yeah.
So how did they do that and in a pandemic? 'Di ba? Where the consumers expenditures are muted. So there's you see there's silver lining somewhere there. So good companies will always perform better regardless of the situation. So yung ano dito, critical element is really to choose the best, no? Kaya yung studying the companies are really important eh. Um, you can ride the wave, but be sure when to get out of the wave. When, the wave seems to be, it's incredibly just going higher and higher. Definitely going to fall somewhere if there's no reason for it to rise, no? So yun. Kaya ako doon eh, I'm I'm a fundamentalist, so I will always tell people, so you invested in that. Do you know what is that going to give you in the future? So if you
Oh,
don't know what that will give you in the future, you are speculating. So speculators, okay yan, because they drive the markets up, but the speculators also can drive the markets down. So where are
eh,
you?
Doc, ang ganda ng binanggit mo, Doc, about yung speculators and all, no? And on that note, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about cryptocurrency?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Eh, Cryptocurrency, it's trying to replace real currency, no? The money
Yeah.
that we use, the fiat, no? So in a way, the idea is good because of the technology. I like crypto, not the money side, but the technology, the blockchain, no?
Okay.
Because it will really solve a lot of problems sa transfer and all of this stuff in marking our fiat resources. Unfortunately, my estimate is up to today, even if you add all the market value of all the cryptos right out there, they're not even 1/5 of all the fiat money in the world. Okay, so if you want to replace fiat money for a long time now, the acceptability is very limited. So if you want to be money, then you should function three. You should do the functions of money, three functions of money, which is standard of value, medium of exchange, and then store of value.
Okay.
Fiat money does all three.
Yeah.
Crypto only does the third, store of value.
I see.
That so yeah, you can store the value, it can rise, but there is no analysis how it will go up. The only logical explanation is that it becomes acceptable
Yeah.
to people.
Hey,
So
Doc.
of course, in the near future, I think it will happen. But it's a question, how many thousands of cryptos are there? Which among them will become the currency that will be acceptable for all?
Very good point.
Yun.
Doc,
Oo.
inopen up natin cryptocurrency. From UJ Temporal, why investor now are shifting in Bitcoin investment?
Actually, I have no clue. I will have to admit kasi nga, as I said, um, to me, unless the governments themselves say we are going to accept these currencies as part of our monetary system, then, kasi kahit na i-accept siya as payment instrument, uh, a country can always outlaw it. Look at what happened to Turkey, di ba? In-outlaw niya lahat ng crypto. So in one day, the crypto prices went down, di ba? So yung weird eh. That's the weird thing. So, but I believe, for example, China has its own digital currency. Yun eh. What can happen is other countries can develop their own digital currency, no, their own cryptos. No?
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Alvin, are you still there? Okay, let's just give Dr. Alvin a few seconds to bounce back after the lag.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
we're back. Yeah, we have another question from Albert Fedeliga. Sean will flash it in the screen. You mentioned moving forward that business in malls will no longer be the same. Are you suggesting to look into community area for future expansions?
Yeah, I think that will be that will be a likelihood. Kasi
Wow.
nga, kasi the malls in the past they have been like our center, di ba? The center of activities. But kasi what will happen is people will are used to mobile now, right? Or mobile shopping and everything. So what will happen is that the shops will no longer need large physical spaces. They will need no parang bodegas and no where to keep their items. And what will happen is um people now will only buy yung mga small things that they pass when they go home, no? Near their communities. And this will not need big spaces. It's like the Amazon Go. Have you seen that? Amazon Go.
No, no. How does it work?
You go, it's like it looks like a it looks like a ano ba, parang mini stop 7-Eleven. You don't have to pay anything. You get whatever you want. You get, but it's small space, small space, and lahat charge sa sa Amazon account mo. So parang as you go, no, and you don't, there's no cashier. Enter, and it's a small space. Tapos yung mga kailangan mo, some of them you can order online na lang. So
I love it.
the future seems to be is likely going to that direction. So I think many of the malls will repurpose. Yung mga large spaces will be repurposed into siguro logistics hub, parang ganyan, or magiging exhibition center. Yung mga malls na nasa malalaking community, yun pwede. No? Kaya yung mga
No.
maliliit na mall, parang mas okay yun eh.
Oh wow, Dr. Alvin, salamat sa ano. This is so refreshing kasi we've been through many webinars. We talk about vaccine, we talk about the virus, kung paano siya nag-ooperate. But now you're giving us something to look forward to. And I'm personally very excited from a property sector point of view, no? Yung
Mm-hmm.
community area neighborhood expansion, the Amazon Go. So I think maganda to have these kinds of ideas in place. Doc, you have a few more advice. We have the last 10 minutes to go. Meron ka pa ba dyan in your notes na advice?
Well, yung tatlong assessment, those are critical. If you are able to do that, then you can prepare, no? Kasi now you will know, I have this, I can put this for real estate, no? Baka may mga bargain na real estate ngayon dahil it continues to it continues to consolidate, di ba, Carl? Nagko-consolidate pa siya.
Yep.
So and those who are not updating their stock of real estate, yun yun ang matatagal lumabas, no? Kaya nag-ano pa, we're still evaluating that. But there are good properties, no? And ang nakikita ko nga dito, over time, people can now have their cake and eat it too, meaning they can live in Pampanga and work in Makati and BGC, and don't have to go there every day because that's the reality. Now people will shift to probably land sa kanilang hometowns, no?
Yeah.
Para
Alam
yun ang
mo, Doc,
magiging
ang ganda ng what you just mentioned. I've never thought about it from that angle, no, na you can work for a big headquarters in Makati. And
mm,
yet, the headquarters won't require you to go to the office every day.
that's right.
Diba?
That's right.
Wow, I think you're right. That's a possibility, no?
Yeah, that's actually what I am toying eh. Kasi you know, nakita na nila it's possible. In fact, right now nobody is working in the headquarters,
Yep.
right? Very few people. So, and if after the pandemic, they will probably continue with this. If you are familiar with the IBM model, the headquarters will just be meeting rooms. The
Okay.
meeting rooms that they will go and meet, but they will not have a permanent place there except the bosses,
Okay.
except the front staff. But the rest will be like, you produce where you can produce better and come back and
Yeah.
meet if we need to meet. Yun. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
that's one. Mm.
Doc, I think may konting resistance. As you were saying it, my inside is saying na hindi imposible mangyari yan, imposible. But I think it's hard to accept something new,
Mm. Yeah,
But you're saying, yeah.
yeah, it's a possibility, no? It's a likelihood. Of course, siyempre gusto mo pa rin, nakikita mo yung mga staff mo, you all work together. No, but since the pandemic has proven that productivity continues,
Yeah.
you know, but like me and the rest of us who are working from home, I still wanted to go to my office and work there, right? But sabi ko nga, if the company will tell me, no, you can come here 3 times a week. O di okay, 3 times a week lang ako papasok, di ba? So
Yeah.
these are possibilities that are coming and yan sa property. Pero what about other investments, no? So like what are we how are we thinking about manufacturing, for example? Uh, because one of the things that delays the economic expansion of the Philippines is we don't produce a lot of things here. Puro mga components lang, right?
Okay.
And so I think we will learn our lesson. And you know what will happen post pandemic is that we will try to produce things on our own here.
Wow.
Magkakaroon ng ganyan. So it will create, kasi that's the reason why Vietnam is flourishing in the pandemic. They closed their borders and yet their economy is growing. Why? Because they produce what they need. They don't
Wow.
need inputs from outside.
I've never read about that. Pero okay, they closed their borders, so now they're like a self-sustaining,
Yes,
self-supporting.
yes,
Wow,
yes.
wow.
So to prepare for another possible not necessarily a big pandemic like this, but a threat like this, we need to be self-sustaining. So yeah, manufacturing and agri in the post-pandemic would be very important.
Wow.
To produce our
Wow.
own food, our own things that we need for every day. Yeah, that will be the trend that I see after the pandemic. Mawawala na yung kasi right now we are so dependent internationally, 'di ba? I always ask my students, how many percent of what you are wearing today or what you are using as we speak is made in the Philippines? 'Di ba? That's that's a big question kasi now if the door closes, wala tayong gagamitin. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
Wala tayong kakainin. So yun. So that post-pandemic, that's the kind of business opportunities that can be done. So part yan nung sinasabi kong local economy. Local economy. So you don't need to provide for the whole country. You can provide for, let's say, for your own village. You'll be the supplier, let's say, of eggs in your village. Parang ganon. Ganyan ang mangyayari, no? Kasi community oriented eh. And yet you still go where you want. You can travel, but since freer yung time mo is flexible, then you have more time to think of what you can do uh, domestically. So
Wow.
yan yung nakita kong trend.
Hey guys, for those who are listening, you have to read in between the lines. Sa lahat ng sinasabi ni Dr. Alvin, there's so much business opportunity reading between what Dr. Alvin is saying. And sabi nga ni Rina, earrings mo daw, hindi na galing abroad. Boracay na lang, di ba? Mga ganun. At pagkain mo, mga bibingka, kakanin, local na lang. Hey, Doc.
Marami
Yeah.
naman tayo na inventong food during this pandemic, di ba?
Oo nga.
Parang ganon, yan. So, self-sustaining, di ba? Yun.
Ganda na
That's that.
sinabi. Doc, there's a question here from the audience. No, what is from the point of view of economists?
Mm.
A rising tide raises all ships. What are your thoughts about that saying? A rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah, that's what's happening actually. Umaakyat lahat. But that rising tide will eventually fall,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay.
So if the tide is rising and you're riding it, you should know as the captain of your ship, you should know how to navigate out of it Or
Oh,
dapat may target, no? It's the same old, old stroke. What is your target? If the
okay.
tide goes up higher, do you want to go higher pa? Or you're okay at this level? No, kung okay ka na, get out of the tide because the tide will eventually become a wave and hit the shore. So,
Oh,
ano ka? Di ba? It's always like that. No? So that, pag umakyat ka, akyat, and then bababa rin.
and this is applicable sa stock market or saan ba applicable yan?
Well, it's applicable to any investment instrument not based on not based on fundamentals.
I see.
Meaning, pulling everything up because of sheer volume. Example, volume market ka lang talaga, right? And in any form of investment na I mean na sumasakay ang tao, like, kaya ako nga, I always tell people, don't catch a plane when it's ready to take off. 'Di ba? Pag late ka na.
I see.
Daming humahabol pa eh. Pwede pa yan. Ayan. So maiiwan ka talaga.
Parang ako yata yan, dinescribe mo, humahabol, no? Catching the plane. Salamat, Dr. Alvin. Hey, we are now at the last stretch of our
Yeah.
show. Kumbaga landing na tayo, Dr. Alvin.
Mm.
Anything else you want to share?
Well, ako naman, after all you have made all those three assessments na sinabi ko, assessing your resources, your knowledge, skills, what you have done, the last assessment is your relationship with your creator.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is your relationship with your creator? Kasi, even if you have all of this, uh, you will still return empty kasi hindi ka okay sa sa ultimate activity mo sa buhay. Ultimately, that should be the one driving you to do all of these things. So, if you're not okay with the creator, then you will always be fearful. Matatapos ba 'to? Will I make better, di ba? But only when your relationship is sure and certain with the Lord, then you all of 1, 2, 3 is easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, Dr. Alvin. Dr. Alvin, grabe. Ang daming palaisipan, Dr. Alvin. And I'm sure the audience here. Guys, if you appreciate what you just learned today, please feel free to type in the comment box. What is your takeaway from Dr. Alvin? Kahit one each lang para ma-encourage lang kami ni Dr. Alvin. What is your takeaway? And Dr. Alvin, our plane has landed already. Bago ko buksan ng uh, uh, fast talk, to summarize, ano ma-advise mo sa amin mga average one?
Lahat naman tayo lahat tayo average. Well, as I said, no, the key word here is assess. Assess means, sitting down. Kasi there's two way to sit down. One way to sit down and sulk, languish. One way is to sit down and assess, perform better. Di ba? So, I'd rather assess than languish. Yun yung gagawin ko so that after this pandemic, I'm a better person. Di ba?
Wow. All right. On that note, Dr. Alvin, salamat. Your comments are coming. Guys, please feel free to say any encouraging words kung what's your biggest takeaway and just say thank you to Dr. Alvin. So, thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you din.
Alvin. It's a wonderful eye-opener. I think di ako makatulog ngayong gabi sa lahat ng because I'm going to read between the lines. Guys, ito lang ma-advise ko sa inyo. Watch the replay, read between the lines, and turn it into an action statement. What can you do after hearing lahat ng sentiments ni Alvin about the economy? Salamat, Dr. Alvin Ang, good friend of mine and somebody I look up to. Salamat.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
thank you. It's so good to see you again, partner. And any last words, Doc?
Yeah, siguro maganda, no? As we end, tanungin niyo yung sarili mo. What will be the first thing you will do when you know the pandemic has ended? Maganda yan.
Wow, that is a heavy question. And I've never asked that question to myself. Ang tinatanong ko lang ngayon is, papabaksin ba ako o hindi? Kailan ba matatapos 'tong pandemic? pandemic. But I love what you planted in our mind, Dr. Alvin.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad to be given the opportunity.
On that note, Doc, salamat and regards to your beautiful wife and the kids. Maraming
Okay, to
salamat.
you too. Okay. God
Have a
bless.
good day,
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you, Sean, for being our tech support. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Good night and have a good day.